All right, thanks, guys. We went 2-3 in our premium selections on Patreon yesterday, but we did improve to 67% in our last 15 board member package plays. We're also hitting at 65% for the entire college football season on that website, which is absolutely ridiculous. So if you want more information about that site, link for that site is in the description section below, and I'll talk a little bit about it later in the podcast here. But a link for that site is in the description section below. That is patreon.com/BrockPage. I'll tell you what, guys, happy Friday to you. How about college basketball right now? We got a bunch of different tournaments going on. We got a tournament in Jamaica, Myrtle Beach. I mean, we got tournaments all over the place. And I should have planned ahead, man. I should have went to one of these tournaments, preferably Myrtle Beach, man. Beautiful down there this time of year. A lot of good golf, not too hot. But anyway, let's go ahead and get into our college basketball slate. And we're going to go ahead and begin with Villanova taking on Mississippi State. Now, that's going to be a 2:30 Eastern tip-off this afternoon. Villanova is minus 6.5. Total's 134. Now, Mississippi State, they're 5-0 straight up on the year, undefeated thus far. They've also successfully covered the number in their last 3 straight. Tyson Carter is averaging 16 points a game, 4 rebounds, 4 assists. He's also averaging 2 steals. Reggie Perry, 14 points a game, 10 rebounds, 3 assists. And Robert Woodard, 12 points a game, 8 rebounds for him. Now, on the other side for Villanova, you got to just keep an eye on this because Colin Gillespie is listed as questionable. It's early in the season, one of these invitational tournaments. Not sure if he'll play, so keep an eye on that. Obviously, we'll get a report on that within the next couple of hours. But once again, Colin Gillespie for Villanova listed as questionable for this afternoon's tip-off. Now, total-wise, the Wildcats are 3-1 to the over thus far in the season. So I think Mississippi State should keep it close. I'm going to lean toward the Bulldogs of Mississippi State, plus 6.5, and the over 134 in that game. All right, next matchup, it is going to be Longhorns taking on the Golden Bears. And that'll be a 5 o'clock Eastern tip-off in that game. The Longhorns are minus 11 in that matchup there. Total's at a very minuscule 124. Now, we did see a half a point move toward Texas and movement downward on the total. The Longhorns open 10.5 up to minus 11. Total open 124.5 down to 124 even. Right now, the Golden Bears of Cal, they're plus 560 on the money line. They're 4-1 straight up on the year, catching double digits here. Keep an eye on that. They're 3-2 against the spread overall for the season. Matt Bradley's averaging 17 a game, 4 rebounds. He's also shooting 50% from downtown. Grant Anasevich, 6 rebounds, 9 points a game, 58% from the field for him. And Kareem South is averaging 11 points a game, 2 rebounds. Texas, on the other side, they failed to cover in their last 3 straight. And they failed to cover against the likes of Georgetown, Prairie View, and Cal Baptist. So keep that in mind. They haven't scored over 70 points yet this year. And they played 5 games already. So Texas looks pretty strong in this one, but I think they might be a little bit overvalued here, laying double digits. Now, total-wise, Texas is 60% to the under. I don't think we'll see a whole lot of scoring in this one. I'm going to lean Cal Golden Bears plus 11 and the under 124 in that game. And I'm going to slide into to my next matchup. That is going to be George Mason taking on Maryland. And that'll be a 7 o'clock Eastern tip-off in that game. Maryland heavily favored in this one. They're minus 18. They are the 18-point favorite in this matchup. Totals at 136. We saw a half a point move toward the Terrapins and movement upward on the total. So once again, Maryland opened 17.5 up to minus 18. Total opened 135.5 up to 136. 64% are leaning Maryland. 84% shaded toward the under. If you like Maryland in this matchup here, I don't know if this is going to be an absolute blowout or what, because George Mason's undefeated. They're 5-0 straight up on the year, 3-2 against the spread. And listen to this, Jameer Nelson Jr., that's right, that Jameer Nelson. We're thinking of the same guy. Jameer Nelson Jr., his kid, 13 points a game, 5 rebounds, 5 assists. And then Arnaldo Toro, 12 points a game, 13 rebounds. He's from, I believe he's from Puerto Rico. Arnaldo Toro, 12 points a game, 13 rebounds, 63% from the field, and he's shooting 73% from the stripe. So I know George Mason, you don't know a lot about him, but they got some pretty good players on the squad. Now, Maryland on the other side, you can't score on them. I get that. They did fail to cover in 2 out of their last 4. They're 3-1 to the under on the year. I don't expect a whole lot of scoring in this one, but I do expect George Mason to keep it within 18. So I'm going to lean George Mason. I believe they're the Colonials plus 18 and the under 136 in that game. Before we go ahead and move on, just want to take another quick timeout and welcome you to the show. Got some lines and personal leans out for Friday's college basketball action. Friday is finally here. Thank goodness it's Friday. Thank God it's Friday. The weekend's here. We're finally, let's go ahead and move on. Anyway, guys, the reason why I took a quick time out, I'm very happy the weekend is here. I'm ready to get it started. My old high school football team is in the district championship. They're almost in the state final, so I'm feeling good. But anyway, I got a lot of stuff going on. I'm setting the lines for the high school games and all that good stuff. But anyway, before we go ahead and move on, I just want to tell you about my website, patreon.com/BrockPage. Now, guys, once again, we're 67% in our last 15 board member package plays on that website. We're also hitting at 65% for the entire college football season on that website. Now, I will explain a little bit more about that site and the difference between Patreon and what we do here on YouTube at the end of the show. But if you want more information about that site, you can actually check out my current record right now, my current Patreon record. It's very, very impressive. All you have to do is click the link in the description section below. That is patreon.com/BrockPage. All right, guys, let's go ahead and slide into our next game. And these are 2 teams you definitely know about. This is Georgetown taking on Duke. 7 o'clock Eastern tip-off at Madison Square Garden, MSG. Now, Duke's minus 13, totals 155. The Hoyas are plus 800 on the money line. Now, I think there might be a little bit of nostalgia here because we did see a 1-point fade of Duke. They opened 14 down to minus 13. But Georgetown, as good as they've been in spots, they're not that great against the number this year. And as a matter of fact, they failed to cover in 4 out of their 5 games this year. And they failed to cover against the likes of Georgia State and Central Arkansas. Meanwhile, Duke on the other side, just absolutely dominant. 5-0 straight up in the year, 4-1 against the number. They have straight up wins against Kansas and Cal. They're led by Vern Carney. He's averaging 18 points a game, 9 rebounds, 2 blocks. He's shooting 62% from the field. Trey Jones is also averaging 15 a game, 4 rebounds, 6 assists, and 2 steals. And Cassius Stanley, he's averaging 13 points a game, 5 rebounds, 2 steals, and he's shooting 55% from the field as well. Now, total-wise, both teams are 60% to the over on the year. I know a lot of folks think Georgetown to keep it close. I do not. I'm going to lean Duke minus 13 and the over 155 in that game. And I'm going to slide my next and final matchup for the show. It is going to be Utah State taking on LSU, and that is a 7 o'clock Eastern tip-off in Jamaica, Montego Bay. The Montego Bay Convention Center, I believe it's called. But anyway, Jamaica, beautiful. I just honeymooned down in Jamaica not too long ago, back in June, and beautiful country, beautiful people. If you ever get down there, I highly recommend it. And a lot of folks, the first thing you think of is marijuana, but it's very conservative down there. But it's a beautiful country, great people. If you ever, go down there and somebody says Wagwan, you just respond Medea. Now, I know what Wagwan means, what's up, what's going on. I don't know what Medea means, but if somebody tells you Wagwan, you say Medea. But anyway, love Jamaica, can't wait to get back down there. Anyway, Utah State taking on LSU, and that is going to take place at Montego Bay, 7 o'clock Eastern tip-off. I believe that is 6 o'clock there at Montego Bay. But anyway, Utah State, they're pretty good this year, guys. They're laying 1.5 points in this matchup here. Totals at 149. Now, we did see a half a point move toward Utah State and movement downward on the total. So the Aggies did open as the 1 point favorite. They're now minus 1.5. Total open 151 down to 149. 55% are leaning Utah State. 51% shaded toward the under. Right now, the Tigers of LSU are plus 105 on the money line. Not really going to break this one down too much. I think LSU has better athletes, and I think they should be able to get the job done here. I'm going to lean LSU plus 1.5 and the under 149 in that game. And of course, I'm going to slide to my quick pick recap, brought to you once again by patreon.com/BrockPage, where we are 67% in our last 15 board member package plays. And like LSU, plus 1.5 under 149. Duke minus 13 over 155. George Mason plus 18 under 136. Cal Golden Bears plus 11 under 124. And last but certainly not least, I like Mississippi State plus 6.5 and the over 134 in that game. And of course, I'm going to slide into my shout outs. Once again, brought to you by patreon.com/BrockPage, where we are hitting at 65% for the entire college football season on that website. Shout out to Jim Tazzies. Shout out to Bob. Shout out to Mark Made Man from New Jersey. 2 times Lock. Kinga Sulik. Baker Creative. Real Hicks for Love. Hell of a name there. Shout out to Aaron A. Ninja Chris. Tyon Lowe. Trav Reith Miller. And last but certainly not least, shout out to my man Nate Dog Woosley. All right, guys, that's going to do it for me. Once again, don't forget to check me out on my website at patreon.com/BrockPage, where we are 67% or last 15 board member package plays on that website. We're also hitting at 65% for the entire college football season, which is absurd. Now, guys, listen, a lot of folks will ask me, what's the difference between your YouTube channel and your Patreon page? Why would I pay for Patreon picks when I'm getting them for free on YouTube? Well, I'll tell you why. Because if you were to bet every single game, both the side and total in real life with your hard-earned money, you're going to lose in the long run. You'll probably end up losing in the short run. What we do here on YouTube is we handicap every single game on the board, both the side and the total. We formulate an opinion on every game. We don't take free passes. And if you were to bet that way, you're going to lose. You can't do it. The books are too sharp. They're too smart. The math is always against you. So what we do on Patreon is we really kind of narrow it down and focus in on 3 to 4 premium selections per day. They're high percentage selections, and they're games that I personally have action on. So if we're on the same side, we're either winning or losing together. And I'll tell you this much, my current win percentage on Patreon is a lot better than it is on YouTube. And you can check that out for free right now. All you have to do is click the link in the description section below to check out my current record. It's right on the homepage. That is patreon.com/BrockPage. But most importantly, guys, I got to thank you for tuning in right here on YouTube. I really hope you enjoyed all this great free content, all this great free information. Happy Friday to you. Best of luck to you. And I look forward to seeing you on patreon.com/BrockPage.